nervous?
No.
Where's your answer?
Dennis Beckham, let the ball on! Dennis Beckham! Dennis Beckham! Dennis Beckham! Dennis Beckham! Oh!
Oh, no! Oh, yes! He missed it!
Welcome to the Suffering from Joy podcast. My name's Devin. It was the best of times, it was the blurst of times. So wrote a chimpanzee in the employ of Charles Montgomery Burns. And that's what we're experiencing as Austin FC fans today. A good first game back and a very not good second game back. So some highs, some lows, a lot of suffering, a lot of joy. We're glad to be back talking about Austin FC, even if it's frustratingly repetitive at times. So joining me today, Seth, you are, or were a second ago, in a banana ball hat.
Yes, I was. I was rocking. I decided to go watch a real sport, banana ball at Wrigley Field, over watching the Austin FC Houston game live yesterday.
I don't think anybody's going to fault you for that. You clearly made the correct decision.
Yeah, no, it was a lovely afternoon, 41,000 strong, an actual real sellout. To the point of Deb and I actually had separate seats, and it was quite the challenge to find two seats together, like real sellouts. Like, they did a good job. And one of the great things about Banana Ball is it's in some ways the complete opposite of how Austin FC runs the front office. That they have fan first pricing, so most of the tickets are $40 or $50. I mean, Wrigley Field was still charging $19 for a banana beer. So we were still in a regular venue for that. But they were actually trying to entertain people. There was actually decent quality of play. There was a game where both teams scored. I don't know, novel ideas.
Yeah, we try to go every time they're around here, and I feel like I don't have enough ADD to watch them because there's so much stuff going on.
The amount of things that I didn't notice, my eyes are, as a sports fan, trained to watch the game. Deb's eyes, as a non-sports fan, are trained to watch everything that is not happening on the field, and she definitely saw more things that were happening than I saw.
Yes. All right. Also with us, Scott, how are you feeling today?
I'm feeling good. It's a beautiful day in Austin. Got to go to the park with the dogs earlier, let them run around. And, overall, it was a good week. There was 1.5 points. Or, I'm sorry, there were 3 points earned, average 1.5 points over 2 matches. Things could be worse.
Yeah, I'm a little sad we're not going to get to see handsome Rob Holding because he got a Dog So red card. Still haven't seen the play, but I've seen him play enough to know that's probably a good call. Also with us today, Brad, who is closing out watching a fellow Auburn alumnus win a golf tournament in Minnesota. Brad, how's it going?
It's good. It's good. Other than having to watch the game last night, I've had a lovely weekend playing a bunch of golf. And Jackson Koiven, the world #1 amateur for the last couple of years and two-time national champion, is about to win his first PGA Tour tournament in only his third career start as a professional. So he is. I'm not pumping this up because he's an Auburn guy. He's probably the next big thing in professional golf. So
cool.
Yeah.
Do you always say amateur? I always think that's like a golf affectation.
Yeah, it's a very golf affectation, but I'm just used to it, so that's what I say.
All right. Just clarifying while we're getting rolling. Let's talk about the fun stuff first. It was fucking hot on Wednesday. I didn't go to the game. I watched in the comfort of my own home. And I don't regret that, even with the results. So, I think we have some sort of rose-tinted glasses about how this game went. Because it was kind of a terrible game, but we save it in the end, and it really kind of lightens and lifts the spirits of everyone. But this is not a good soccer game. A lot of the heat was a problem, teams trying not to play, but we got to win. So Scott, you want to lead us off with some initial thoughts on Wednesday?
This was a game being played in an environment that soccer shouldn't have been played in, that don't seem to be going anywhere, and ultimately Austin subbing on an 18-year-old is what got them to win the match.
Yes, an 18-year-old with the exact same last name as our DP chance creator.
Which is inherently very confusing. It's not a match I would show people to be like, oh, look how great MLS is. And at the same time, I had a lot of fun despite melting and trying to keep my Stuver bobbleheads from moving, really, because after seeing the results of everybody who didn't protect theirs. I'm very glad that mine just went into a foldable, reusable bag and went under the seats.
So your Stuvers survived?
As much as any of them did, it appears that the hot glue that they use to attach the head to the spring, which is kind of the core component of the bobblehead, was not strong enough to keep the head on. But ultimately, like, it bounces pretty well. Like, mine's sitting on my desk and it bobbles like it's supposed to.
Okay.
So I have one that is being, I didn't even ask for this, but a friend of the pod is like just sent me one once it was already in the mail, which is kind of cool. I guess better than $100 on eBay. So I'm very curious what this will be like when it theoretically gets to Chicago on Tuesday. I mean, it's been pretty. I mean, the heat index is over 100 here right now. Actually, like I'm very curious how UPS is going to handle this over the next few days. I expect it to be in at least 3 pieces.
Yeah, I mean, I saw people like, tossing them in their hands and like spinning it around and kind of like as if it was like some kind of like secure thing to play catch with and not ceramics.
Yeah, like even a really well put together bobblehead is incredibly like I can't reach it from here. Darren Pang one, but yeah,
Banger.
even an incredibly well put together one is very very fragile. I'm hoping to pick mine up, and it's time to do some promo time at the Austin FC watch party. Since we will be away to Colorado, Brutorium, great beer. Highly recommend the Electric Lederhosen if you're going. 7:30, everybody kind of shows up. It's an indoor watch, lots of space. 8:30 kickoff. There's parking. There's an LV collab on the tap list, and there are canned koozies for sale. Scott, that was a good ad read. Not really, but I'm going to pretend it was. We've been out of practice. So, what did we earn on our marketing this week?
We get full control over the Los Verdes Slack bot for the rest of the season.
Oh, thank God.
Which means we can add and remove and replace whatever we feel like.
We're reinstating the Michael Bluth, don't call it that bot.
Every Slack bot is now Brad's meat.
Okay, yeah, I could do that one too. And just random words.
Yes.
Yeah.
I think anytime Brad or me get set in Slack, it should do that. And so then it's gonna result in a lot of Stuver as opposed to Brad, which will be interesting.
No, we should also have a random generator. We will let our new sponsor of the podcast, Claude, because they have enough money to do it. Dropbox has a lot of money, that they are going to have the AI wheel of Slackbots. And that for a week, you will not know what you get. And we will just let Slackbot meet AI and let chaos reign.
I like that idea. Cool. So big things heading our way. We kind of joke about this, but people do actually email us and occasionally ask us to come on the show and sometimes even offer us money for it, which I find wildly insane. But it's fun to have fun with it. Brad, any thoughts on Wednesday?
Besides the absolute stifling heat, I actually went and saw Scott before the match, and after a few minutes saying hey to him and a few other people down in the supporter section, I was like, I got to get on the concourse where you could maybe breathe, and yet there was no airflow up there. There was no airflow in the upper level. I kept looking for you, Devin, and I was like, yeah, you're probably not here after about 10 minutes. Game-wise, you could tell by about the 40th minute, both teams were just spent for the legs on the starters, especially Seattle. And I actually really liked kind of what we did, which was it felt like we were letting Seattle run themselves out.
Yep.
And then made subs in the second half and the 60th to attack and use some fresher, younger legs. I don't give a damn what anybody listening says. We played a 5-2-3 in the first half, in the first 60 minutes. That was not a three-man back line with wingbacks. That was a pure 5-2-3. Because anytime we were back in possession, even in possession, guys were going up. Yes, Galley was crashing up, but I'm telling y'all, from sitting up where we were, very clear what we were trying to do. And then the moment we made the subs, we flipped to a pure 3-4-3. So it was really interesting how I thought we attacked the game, which when you sit back, you just think formationally, and then you rewatch what happened. It was we were going to absorb, let Seattle run, and then make subs. Thinking I felt like we were trying to get to the game 1-0, 1-1, 0-0, something along that lines by the time the subs came around, and then make the 30-minute push, which we did. I thought that was a well managed and well thought out game plan.
Yeah, I think we were all singing Davy's praises after that game. A little bit of a rope it up strategy clearly worked out. Seth, any thoughts on the big win over Seattle, who have now lost 5 in a row for the first time in their at least
Second
Major League
time
Soccer
in their
history?
history, yes. But because we have to include, because Seattle counts their back NASL history, so first time in MLS history, but not this the first time in Seattle Sounders history.
Yep.
But also, like, hey, they made it that long. That's actually a good question that I should have prepared for before this podcast. Is what is the longest losing streak in Austin FC history? And the fact that I don't know that right off the top of my head is kind of scary.
I feel like it's gonna make me sad. I don't know. We can sprinkle a draw in here and there, like lose three and then win
I
one
don't
and
know if
then
we've
lose
lost
three.
five in a row. We've definitely had five winless in a row, plenty of
Yeah,
times. But we will get you that answer before the end of this podcast today.
yeah.
But I think like this is a match that if Seattle doesn't have a brain fart and give us a chance on a platter in the 86th minute, is a 1-1 draw.
Is that how you're describing that?
I mean, that was a. I mean, like that was a clear giveaway. And yes, Irvin Torres
Sure.
did set up a great ball there, and Izuni actually finished. But like, we should not have had that chance. That is a chance that is created by exhaustion. Ironically, by Paul Areola, who subbed into that match. But like, that is not a that I mean, while the what you call it, the fire goal against Miami where they back passed it was the highlight of like, hey, we're in MLS, we're not in the World Cup anymore. This was as much a moment of, oh, we are not a top five, and yes, we are a top 10 league now, which is still crazy to think about. But like, we still have ways to go when we see as poor of defensive play as we saw there, and a lot of what we saw last night as well.
Yeah, I mean, I do think, to Brad's point too, though, like we let them wear themselves out, so them making a mental mistake late in the game kind of played into how we were playing it, isn't it?
Yeah, but it's also at a certain point, like yes, I mean, if you work hard enough, you should be able to get some gifts. Yeah, but like it was also like, okay, Brad, go ahead.
I disagree with the assessment that that would have been 1-1 without the Areola mistake. We were controlling the entire narrative after the 65th minute of that match. Seattle really wasn't threatening, with the exception of I think one chance after we made it 2-1. I think there was a goal that was coming, no matter what. It helped that Areola gave it away, but the way we were pushing forward, I think we would have found the second one somewhere.
Yeah, and you could see the body language on Seattle too. They just wanted to go home, and I've seen Austin do that plenty of times, but we looked ready to go and ready to give the home fans something to actually chew on and enjoy. And it all came to fruition thanks to an 18-year-old who a lot of us have been watching at FCito for years. Very good. I think sometimes you watch those games and you say, "Oh, well, I didn't see this guy do that much." But if you watch them with a little more, "Oh, this is a thing that higher level players do," that's something that a lot of people will see out of Irvin, and it's a good sign. He's got in both of our games since Davy took over. So play the kids. Everybody always likes that. If you're in, let's call it 14th place for now, um, you know, it's something.
Complete aside, it's going to be really weird post sprint season because we are less than a year away from the new 27-28 season that we're going to have a single table. There's going to be no more conferences. So it'll be like, we're going to be in like 27th place at some point. And that's going to be really weird because there's no other league on earth where you say that, hey, we're in 27th place. Maybe on the PGA Tour you do, but
I mean,
but
you do in
27th
the
place on
Europa
the PGA
League.
Tour is a hell of a lot better than 27th place in MLS.
Oh yeah, it
You
is.
throw
That's
money,
like
finish
that's
in
like a
37th.
that's like a $70,000 check every week. That's a
I was going
solid.
to say, I mean, you're getting invited to the FedEx Championship
Yeah,
with 27.
yeah. I'm gonna say you're probably making a few $1 million a year doing that. That
I
ain't
mean,
bad.
you might make the Ryder Cup team at that.
Scott, I think you had something to say.
Oh, I was going to say that I think it's interesting that he's gotten minutes in both games since Davey took over, but I think that's more a necessity of the roster now. Now that Danny's gone, like there just aren't as many bodies in midfield to play. And we talked about it before about how like the sporting director influences what's on the field in a lot of ways. And one of them is just by, you're the one who gives the ingredients to the coach. And if you're just like, nope, these are the ingredients you have, they just gonna have to make it work. And going back to what he did, Austin has so few players who can beat someone one on one, especially around the box, that they really just need to try to get all those guys on the field as much as they can and getting the ball in those areas, because fast forward to Saturday, that did not happen.
Yeah, and I mean, you mentioned it, beating somebody one-on-one, hugely important. Good teams know how to protect their defense when that happens and, slide accordingly. Same in every other sport, but even being able to do that, it causes chaos. And, tired legs, tired brains, chaos, you get chances. It's a hell of a pass to Uzuni, who has a great finish too, but the weight on that is absolutely perfect. It just says, we talk about it, information on the pass, it just says walk up and hit it. For a guy who
Yeah,
has a long history at Austin of taking three too many touches.
yeah. I was going to say that is one of the things of that I think we've noticed more and more with Azuni, is that he needs to just be able to hit it first time, not think about it, not have to take a touch, and that is really important. And I know you said tired legs and tired brains, but like Paulo Airola was a sub. Like that dude's just washed.
Yeah.
And to think that he was the subject of what, like the third largest GAM trade in MLS history, not that long ago.
I mean, I still remember the World Cup qualifier against Jamaica that was at Q2. He got fouled, and people in the stands were yelling for a dog sub because there weren't any defenders around. And I said, "Come on now, it's Paul Arriola. Nothing he does is a scoring opportunity."
Yes. That's correct. I think we're going to dive into kind of some overarching tactics here, but anything else we want to hit on the happy day before we go into the bad day?
So I thought you guys have talked about the through ball from Torres, but the second pass, it's not so much the pass, but the taking one on one to the inline to make the pass to Ramirez. We haven't had a midfielder been willing to do that in a while, if ever.
Yeah, and it's a very tight, he's close to the keeper, so he doesn't have to nail it through the back of the net. But that's a very tight, difficult finish from Ramirez as well.
Yeah.
Yeah. I don't really want to talk about their goal because it was a classic. Austin forgets to defend after they score. Yeah, so let's talk about Houston, and then we'll talk about kind of the Davy tactics intertwined in here. This is not a good game. Houston didn't do anything complicated and looked almost bored for parts of it with how easy it was to play around us. You can't give up multiple goals where they just play a ball over the top and then their player walks in and scores. It's really, really that simple. Seth, any thoughts on, I guess, how do you feel coming out of a 3-0 loss away to Houston after a very, very uplifting win against Seattle?
On the one hand, completely unsurprised. The most surprising thing that happened in this game was that our interim coach didn't know that we hadn't won a game on the road all year, despite the fact that, I don't know, he's been present for every single Austin FC game in 5.5 years of this club's existence.
That was a big red flag among a couple others for me, but go ahead.
No, but it gets to a point of we look at it's not really true on the first goal, but the second goal and the third goal, besides coming relatively back to back on each other, were scored the exact same type of way. And I think back to what Jim Curtin said when he wanted to be in he's like, we're going to play really tight. And the what we were doing there was the really version of not playing tight at all. We're going to give you plenty of space to just lob Route 1 lobs over the top. I mean, that was as close to this is like the effectively soccer equivalent of an alley-oop. Like, we're just going to go find the guy who's going to be barely onside. Our defenders are going to be looking around, so they're going to be beat by 3 to 5 yards by the time this comes down. And then we're going to have to ask Stuver to come off of his line and make those saves. And Brad Stuver is really good at making saves. He is not good at stopping guys who are running in from 25 yards with no defense. And also, that's really not his job. Like, if he makes those saves, they're, great. But, at a certain point, oh my gosh, we need to sign some center backs.
Yeah, I'm going to kind of oversimplify how this works. So, I mean, you can see this in games. The idea is you don't want to give the opponent any space at all, period, right? There are times when it's okay if you let a guy standing on the ball have a little space, as long as you make sure the person receiving it has no space. That can work out. Or kind of vice versa. As long as the person's pressured who has the ball. I talk about this and not letting crosses come in all the time. As long as that person's pressured, you're getting a little bit of change. They're not just picking out great passes because these are professional players. You give them all day, they're going to be able to do this. Um, as long as you're getting pressure on the ball, maybe you can be a little looser on the person that would be receiving it because the pass isn't going to be as great. Theory, fine. What we were doing is basically giving both the person passing and receiving the ball the entire goddamn field. And these are the results, and they're going to keep happening if we keep doing that. I want to get into some other tactical stuff, but Scott, any kind of high level thoughts here?
I'm not sure if anybody else watched the press conference or at least listened to it.
I didn't. I read Phil's write up, and I was like, nope, can't watch this. I'm going to get mad. It's not worth my emotional investment.
Oh, it was maddening, but the part that confused me the most was how much it sounded as if the coach didn't have any control or understanding that he's the coach and he tells players where to play.
Well, we used to talk about this with Wolf all the time too. Like, is this just like a U.S. soccer good old boys thing, or?
I mean, it definitely sounded like Wolf up there. I remember his whole like, oh, we saw out there today wasn't what we saw a week and blah blah blah. And it's like, no, like that's your job. Like literally, your job is to coach the team to where they play the way you want them to, and set up tactically in the way that they're supposed to. And if they're not doing that, one, you shouldn't play them, or two, you shouldn't be coach. And I think we're seeing a lot of examples of why like Davy doesn't get head coaching interviews or looks at head coaches or head coaching spots. That by itself was maddening because, like you said, like what they were doing wasn't a bad strategy. The problem is that they executed the strategy really badly because Houston's a team that other teams have pressed up on and those other teams have had success on, especially with Bond back there as keeper, who's not very good. But when you don't press and also aren't close to the defenders, and then if your last defender also runs further back than everybody else to keep everybody on side, you make things really easy for the other team to just pick passes around and score, which is exactly what they did in the first goal.
Yeah. Brad, do you want to jump in here?
Yeah, I'll go back to the Davy point because I think tactically Scott's right on. My only question with Davy Arnaud for the rest of the year is can he coach himself out of the next staff? Because there's heavy speculation and thought process out there from the folks in the know that the club wants to keep Davy for the long run as an assistant. I don't completely understand that. My thought process is Jim Curtin should be able to choose whoever the hell he wants to be on his sideline, as any coaching staff should. But is there a point where you realize maybe this isn't a guy you need to keep around because you're not actually adding. What is he adding to the locker room? If there's a rift between he and Jaden Nelson, which we'll get into, that's something else that needs to be addressed. Because I can't see a reason why we're not using Nelson at any point over the last couple of games, especially when we're playing in 2 straight games of heat in 72 hours. I think tactically and setup wise, why no one asked about such little rotation last night is crazy to me. I get that you're going for the game and you might feel you need some things, certain guys on the field, but you're talking about guys who haven't played competitive minutes in nearly 2 months. So to say that they're full game shape, probably not totally accurate. And they're playing in the hottest part of the year. And Wednesday night was probably the hottest game we've ever had at Q2 that I can remember. Like, it was disgusting here, Seth.
Oh, yeah. I was able to watch on my TV as the smoke didn't dissipate.
Yeah.
Like, that tells me everything I need to know. I mean, what is it? Kickoff temperature delayed an hour and kickoff temperature was still over 100. Heat index.
It was 96 when I walked out of the stadium at 10:30. Humid.
And also, I'm going to go read off something here. Our upcoming schedule, we do get a break on Wednesday for the All-Star game, which 0 Austin FC members are on the All-Star team, and honestly, fair at this point. We play Colorado on August 1st. We play Xolos on August 6th. We play Puebla on August 9th. We play Club America on August 13th. We play Frisco on August 16th. We play Seattle on August 19th. We play Philadelphia on August 22nd. And then Portland away on August 29th. And if we somehow finish top 4 in the MLS side of Leagues Cup, we will have a match between Philly and Portland. We're going to have to
Seattle,
rotate so much, to your point. I'm affirming your point, Brad, here. Yeah.
yeah.
We have 8 matches in the next 4 weeks.
Seattle's the only one of those with decent weather.
And
because Colorado next week's going to be warm.
What'd you say? Colorado's going to be warm, and Seattle could be warm. We don't know. I mean, yes, a bunch of those are at home. All 3 of the Mexican matches are at home, but we also have to. I don't know. We go from 2 days rest to 3 days rest, to 2 days rest, to 2 days rest, to 2 days rest, and we have Seattle between 2 and a 2, a Sunday to Wednesday. I will say, I will give credit to Seattle. They scheduled the kickoff for 6:30 Pacific time, so it is the same time that we kicked off on Wednesday. So at least it is not a 9:30 or 9:40 Pacific time kick. So, Devin, you don't have to worry about staying up till midnight.
Thank God. I'm very bad at that stuff.
I'm very bad at that too.
I'll do it if I have to, but
not for this.
No.
Besides getting burned on the over the top ball in the first 30 minutes last night, which last night, especially knowing that we came off the heat, we were probably exhausted. Why we didn't set up in a similar 5-2-3 was odd to me. Like, last night was a game where if you want to, that was a classic smash and grab to me. If you're going to try to win a game or grab a point, absorbing a little more would have been smarter.
Well, I think
it wasn't like we were playing in the friendly confines of Shell Energy Dude Wipe Stadium, where it was a heat index of 103, 104. It wasn't like it was yes, it was cooler than Wednesday night, but that was still a pretty oppressive environment.
And oddly enough, that's exactly what Houston did. They rotated guys out and they played with the 5-man backline.
Yeah, I was going to say, I think Scott nailed it. We were trying to press up on them, which, extra, second super hot game in 3 days, same players, recipe for disaster.
I mean, I'm glad we're not really going to have to worry about the summertime thing too much when the schedule flips over. I mean, I know schedule starts in July, but it's only a month and a half of it before we won't have to do the whole summer like we have been. But the fact that this team in 6 years have never figured out how to use the heat to its advantage at any point is crazy. I know you have to practice in it. I know it takes it out of you in practice, and you have to practice early in the morning because of the heat and all that stuff. Fine. Build a freaking roof on something at St. David's. Okay? Like, if you're that worried about it, and it's taken that much out of you guys, every freaking college in America that's worth its salt has an indoor practice facility. Build yourself one. If you need to stay out of it. But at this point, you should at least know how to use this to your advantage as a home team, and this club has not figured it out.
Yeah, I mean, you're a professional sports team owned by a fucking billionaire. You shouldn't have, and you brag about your facilities. If do training indoors twice a week, build an indoor facility. You can rent it out to people playing indoor soccer year round, or don't. You have the money, just leave it fallow. Fine. I'm with you. That's
also blow up a bubble. There's the amount of youth practice bubbles that are in the Chicago metro area. I mean, the Fire have a bubble. They have.
Just do what the Bengals do. It's fine.
Yeah. Hey, the Bengals now have an indoor practice facility. Finally.
Just do what the Bengals did. You mean walk like an Egyptian?
Well, wait. UT is getting rid of their bubble. They built a full indoor facility now, right? So, yeah. Just grab that one.
Yeah, they've had a bubble for 20 years now.
Yeah, I was going to say, it's been a while.
Yeah.
I want to say that one up when I was in college, and I'm old, so,
But they just finished up an actual facility. So, buy their bubble.
Yeah. Or rent it, or, again, you're owned by a fucking billionaire, and one of your value props for places like, I don't know, Saudi Arabia to come visit is, hey, we have this great facility. It's fucking maddening. Or like you said, figure out how to use the heat to your advantage. And I take the point, you're working out in the heat, it affects you more, but also you should be more used to it, and your training should be tailored to actually leading the most performance from that. So, who knows? But I do want to touch on, too, their first goal I think should be played on repeat in the Austin FC locker room and on the bus home. For several reasons. First, it's terrible defending. Nobody looks like they know what they're doing. I think it's Galley plays everybody onside for no reason because he's confused and lost and isn't a natural defender. Second, I want to see Austin FC execute counterattacks like this. Because that's, we joked about doing the like 3-man weave you do in basketball practice, and that's kind of what that looked like. Just run the defenders around until they get lost and somebody will have space and then pop it in the back of the net. I don't know. I was watching that like, well, this is bad defending, but also, they did a pretty good job to force it.
Yeah. Also, you're mentioning the counterattack piece. Like, we have not mentioned our newest signing who actually got some pretty decent minutes in both these two games. Like, you bring on a new fast winger. That should be able to help with a counterattack, right?
You would think so. And, like, he's listed as a mid, but we've been playing him as a wingback.
But why do you need wingbacks inverted? Why do you need wingers inverted fullbacks?
All right, let's fucking talk about this. Seth, tell me what's wrong with this, and we'll pile on.
Okay, I understand that we are in a shortage of midfielders, sort of, in this team at the moment. But why do you have 4 people playing 2 positions?
Thank you.
We get paid $0 on this podcast unless a guest comes on here or an ad read comes on here, and we can figure this out. How has the Austin FC coaching staff, even if they're interims, not figured this out? This isn't hard. This doesn't take advanced analytics. You can't have 4 people playing 2 positions.
Brad, you started watching soccer like 5-6 years ago. Have you figured out the name of the game is space yet?
Yeah, we have guys running on top of each other so much. In the game Saturday night, early in the match, there was a point where Poeta had the ball down the right side, and Facundo Torres is standing there with no idea what to do, and they were within 3 yards of each other. And then Poeta just kind of had to pick up the ball and keep running towards the end line because Torres was standing next to him, not moving. And this shit happens way too much on this team.
Yeah, I saw a lot of the, like, nobody knows where they're supposed to be, and why are there 3 people standing in the same, not playing like a, really sophisticated Spanish triangle or something, but like in the same spot.
Well, not just that, but watch how many times the ball goes to the wing and it gets cycled right back out. Mm-hmm. And the reason for that is because they are on their dominant foot or their strong foot, which takes them back and away from the end line. And it was every wide player yesterday. And it was so frustrating to just watch these basic concepts of how to coach a team fail. Like, there's just so many basic questions and answers that there's so many basic questions that Arno just had the wrong answers to. And it's like, you've played soccer professionally. You've been an assistant coach for a very long time. And I don't understand why you think this works. Because we have so much evidence that it doesn't. And even not even just like
Scott in a very
Austin,
blue steel pose.
Generally watching soccer.
Yeah, okay, so what do we mean when we say inverted wingers or inverted fullbacks? Let's break this down a little bit.
The short version is that a player's preferred or dominant foot is opposite of the side that they're on. So the case of, Rosales playing on the right as a right mid or right winger, he is a very left-footed player. So that means that whenever he is naturally going the way he wants to, he is bringing the ball back inside, back toward the defense, back toward the other players. Whereas if you have had him on the left, which we saw once or twice kind of randomly off of set pieces yesterday, he's able to get to the byline and get around players and get crosses in to dangerous areas like you want your wingers to be able to do.
Yes, so like the simple version is your strong foot is inside instead of outside. I've kind of explained this too before. We try to play like a little bit of a, call it Dutch Barcelona 4-3-3, total football. You can use all sorts of words. Obviously, we're not playing a 4-3-3, but it's the same kind of ethos that come through there. And what you do in those situations and other formations sort of work similarly. You basically chop the field up into 5 lanes. You have 5 people who are responsible for the lanes on the backside, 5 people who are responsible for the lanes on the front side. They can switch throughout the play. And so you have, like your strikers in the middle. We'll call that like lane 3. And then you have 2 people in lanes 1 and 2, so off to your left side. You want one of them going wide and towards the line so they can send it across, and the other one cutting inside for a shot. The way we're setting this team up with both people with strong feet on the inside is that they're both going to that inside position. And that not only, it not only takes the person who's supposed to be going to the line out of the play, they get in the way of the other player. So it's double counterproductive.
Yeah, not to say that inverted wingers can't work. They can. But if you're going to do that, you need to have a balance between the winger and the fullback to where the fullback is going to make those outside runs to stretch the defense out.
Yes, you can invert one.
Yeah, but both is insane.
You can even invert two if you're actually playing with a 3-person midfield rather than with a 2 or a 4-person midfield. Like, it's a question of how are you doing this. Like, Liverpool would occasionally do this with Trent Alexander-Arnold, but he also has like the foot of God, so that you can do that. No one, it's for some reason England didn't take him to the World Cup, but that's a whole nother story. But there's, as you start going to this, like, if you have players with ordinary abilities, and like these players are still MLS players, they're still very talented soccer players, but like if you're just doing this with an ordinary level of MLS talent, it's not going to work.
Yeah, and I mean, you hit on kind of the way you can sort of do that, where you either A, have Trent Alexander-Arnold, which we're not going to get, or B, you essentially push one of your, we'll call him an 8 midfielder forward, and then you just have the left back or the right back, whoever, fill that gap. And so the 8 is acting as the interior player, and then the winger actually plays out on the wing, kind of towards the touchline, like I was talking about. And obviously the stuff gets way more complicated when you get into like higher level stuff, but we want to make it simple. So like there are ways to do it, but like it's not what we're doing, where it's both of you guys try to dribble inside and shoot.
I mean,
So,
I fully expect if we see inverted fullbacks again, that at Leagues Cup matches, at least the first two, where there's going to be like 7 to 10,000 empty seats at Q2, that there's going to be people holding up signs saying no more inverted fullbacks.
I don't know why y'all expect not to see it when we've been doing this shit all year.
I don't know, maniacal hope.
Yeah, I think some of us foolishly had an idea that Davy was going to bring something demonstrably different, and instead he's doing the same thing but worse.
Yeah. So, I mean, I don't want to give you like a down note coming out of this show, but I don't think any of us are super confident we're making the playoffs or showing a lot of improvement or anything this year.
I'm fully on board. Like I said, I think last show, and I've been very loud about. I'm fully on board with. I don't care about the rest of the season. I don't even care about the short season next year. I just want to see who we can build this roster around moving forward, and then I want to use the short season next year for Curtin to implement his ideas and find out who we need to like really tweak the roster with. Use the winter window to get a few guys in here that he knows he wants. Use next summer's window to get the guys in here to round out the roster to where we can be competitive for the next real season starting next July. The more we play Irvin Torres, the more we play to God, we actually use the final international spot and let Alice Shway play. And let's see what he can do at this level. I want to see more out of Plaheta because I know he's older, but I actually think he might be our best winger on the roster right now already. And I like what I saw out of his first 2 matches for us. I want to see Djordjevic get minutes. He was good Wednesday night. For all you folks who shit on this kid, he was good Wednesday night. And he was in the right positions. He was arguably our best defender for the amount of minutes he played while on that field. I need more out of Owen. Like, I need to push Owen. Owen needs to take a step this year because he's taken a step back. And so for me, it's building those guys. And then also, maybe it's too early to say this. Maybe he's just been played wrong all season. We know Mirto Zuni's struggles, but Facundo Torres has been a wild disappointment this year for me. And we need to start talking about it.
He looks bright in games, but, is it he's not coming up with passes or shots, or is there nobody running? Like, I don't know what the problem is. I don't know if he, like you said, he was in the wrong spot.
I mean, we look at it. He has 6 assists. He has been very good on set pieces. He's been good on corner kicks. In the active run of play, not been great.
Yeah, let me take my Arsenal hat off for a
Yes.
second. I want my fucking designated player creating his assists on the goddamn field, not just sending in great corners.
Yeah.
Hat back on.
There are times where
So
I
how do
think
you
we
feel
have,
about Vinny Jr. coming in to have your other set piece?
That would be by far the biggest transfer in Arsenal history, so I think I'd be happy about that.
Yeah,
um, yeah, Facundo had plenty of space on Wednesday night at times that they just weren't getting on the ball, and that's part of it too. Um, but he's just far too often this year. He's been a non-factor in games,
Yeah, he
and
does tend to disappear for even if he has a good game, he'll shut off for 10-20 minutes.
I think the biggest problem with Torres, and this is a general problem with the front of Austin FC's attack, is there's too much space between him and Vasquez and Azuni, and between Vasquez and Azuni by themselves. And they are not able to link up. And if you go back and watch that game, because I was watching Vasquez moving around, even when he gets the ball, he doesn't have options to drop it off to. And the one time he did in the first half, he passed it off to Azuni, who was so surprised that the ball actually made it to him 20 yards out from goal, he didn't shoot.
Yeah. I don't know. I think there are a lot of problems that we're all kind of going, well, it's going to be until Jim Curtin shows up until some of these simple things get fixed, and maybe they still won't, but it's going to be a long rest of the season. But at least
I
we
think
don't
we're.
worry about the playoffs going till almost Christmas.
I think this roster is going to look markedly different by next July, and we don't have that many contracts coming up. I just think we're going to get rid of a bunch of guys or try to deal off folks, and we've got a shit ton of GAM to work with too. After the Danny trade, I think this roster.
But a lot of that GAM is 2026 GAM, so that means that we have to spend that money because we can roll some of that forward, but we can't roll all of that forward.
Which would mean you got to use it now.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. You have to use it the next month. I don't watch. Like we're gonna release this pod tonight. We're recording this 5/16 on Sunday, July 26th, and they're gonna announce a sporting director tomorrow, knowing my luck. But like, I don't think we're gonna have a sporting director before the end of this window on this pace.
Austin FC or Arsenal gazumped to Vinny Jr. by Austin FC. You heard it from Seth first.
Does Vinny Jr. take GAM?
Absolutely fucking not. He has good representation.
Yeah, I mean it's fascinating that you have right now the league. The Fire are trying to sign Leon Goretzka, and they have an open DP spot. They have an unlimited cash, and Goretzka wants $18 million a year as his salary.
That's a lot. No, even though like a big European league, that's a pretty heavy.
Juventus.
I'm sorry, is there another Goretzka I don't know about?
No.
Okay.
Steve
To be
Goretzka.
fair, Illinois taxes are high.
I mean, higher than like European taxes. I'm
No,
not sure
not it. It's we have a flat income tax, 4.95%. There's no city tax in Chicago. This isn't like New York or California or even Ohio. Ohio has city taxes.
Yeah, I mean, we had one in St. Louis, but nobody actually lived in the city, so it was only if you worked there. That's changed in the past few years, but when I was a kid, that was a huge thing. Everybody lived in the county because they didn't have to pay their extra 1%, among other reasons, most of them racism. We're not going to get into it. So, I mean, where do we go? Like, we could play Colorado, then we do Leagues Cup. But, like, I think everybody felt good coming out of Seattle, and now it's just like, oh, shit, this end of the season, which is half the goddamn season, is going to be the giant waste of time we were all worried about during the World Cup. Like, is there any optimism other than play the kids? I thought Brad had a good point on Djordjevic, but the other thing you have to look at there is Svata cannot play Jim Curtin ball. He does not have the physique and athletic ability to do that. So, I mean, like, yes, more Irvin. We haven't seen any CJ. Davy said that has to do with, how people are competing. I agree. I like, from what we've seen, Plaheta.
CJ, by the way, is playing for FCito tonight. He's in the lineup.
He's
Okay,
starting.
that's not good.
Are we going to tie the CJ news to the Jaden Nelson happenings from yesterday? Because if a player is not mentally able to play, why is he on the bench when you have a perfectly able person of being on the bench?
Yeah, I mean, I think that's a good connection, but I think Davy's full of shit and he's throwing a giant little bitch fit over nothing, but I don't know what happened. What do you guys think?
My my wild speculation is Jaden Nelson is pissed off at the way he's been used here this year because he came here to get minutes to try and make the World Cup roster for Canada, which he barely made, and he played 10 minutes of the World Cup.
Well, he made it because of injury.
Yeah, he wasn't going to make it because he didn't play here all year long. And listen, God bless John Gallagher for what he's done for the last few years of this club and playing spots. How he's getting minutes, sometimes even at the wing over Jaden Nelson, is beyond me. It's beyond. It does not make sense. Nelson's still, what, 25, 23? He's young.
He's young, yeah.
He's
I
not
think
that old.
23 is right.
Yeah. He's a playmaker. He can dribble, beat you off the ball. He's speedy down the wing. He's exactly what we need. I actually think him, opposite of Plaheta, could be super interesting and give us some dynamism down the wings. And my gut is he's pissed off that he's being put in for 10 minutes in a match where we're down 3-0, where it's too late to affect anything, and he hasn't been able to play all year. That's my true gut feeling here. And he made it known that he's pissed off.
Yeah, and that's what his World Cup appearance was too.
He has in the World Cup, I think, is a different animal. He barely made the roster, right?
Yeah.
But this is a team where I can't tell you he isn't better than most of our starting 11 on a day-to-day basis.
Right. We're not reining in goals from both wings, and it's like, hey, man, sorry, nowhere to put you.
And you're telling me in a 2-game week that we can't find him 35, 40 minutes somewhere? It's crazy.
I mean,
like if you're telling me CJ isn't playing because Nelson's getting minutes, I can live with that. But if they're neither one of them are playing, this obviously makes no sense to me.
Like CJ not playing makes sense because we brought in Christian Ramirez as a third striker, and for the most part, our core like striker group is actually pretty good to where he's not going to see the field as much. But last night, you watch the way that we're set up, and Azuni is trying to like make touches outside the box and take people on. It's like, why? After he went 90 on Wednesday, why is Nelson not there to take guys 1v1?
I think this team is being so badly misplayed on a setup basis every game for the most part that how we haven't seen it is mind-boggling. We should be playing more of a 4-4-2, quite frankly, with Rosales playing left back, Dessler or Gallagher playing right, depending on if Dessler's healthy. Okay? Pick and choose what two center backs you want to put back there. I don't care. But some combination of BHI and Djordjevic and Spatai. Use Nelson and use Plaheta on your wings right now, or some combination of your wingers with some speed. And then play Uzuni as a almost second attacking striker, right? The off-the-shoulder striker with your midfielders. That is how I would set this team up. I think it's put your strengths out there. It stops you from putting Sabovic out there so damn much. It lets Owen
do you have Owen and Ilie starting as the two midfielders in this formation?
Most likely.
You're leaving Facundo on the bench?
Huh?
So you're leaving Facundo on the bench?
I mean, somebody's going to have to stay on the bench. Maybe Facundo's in there, right? And I don't care. I'm just thinking logically, how do I get my best 11 players on the field?
Yeah.
And we spend so much time worrying about the back line. We have a legitimate, logical four-man back line that we can play that we refuse to play because we continue to put Rosales on the wing.
I don't know.
I mean, this to me, I just pulled up our Friends of the North End pod and their great spreadsheet here. We got a lot of guys that are under contract through December 27, December 28, June 29. This roster is going to take a long time to make over because I don't think there's going to be people who want to buy the assets that we have.
No, we got to sell some guys at a loss. Like, I think there's a market still for a Dubasarski down in South America if you want to get rid of him.
I don't think Dubasarski's here by the end of August, by the end of this window.
No. But he's young enough to where you can probably get a few bucks for him. You might sell him at a bit of a loss, but you'll get something.
I actually think we can make money on Biro.
Possibly. And he's not a guy I would mind stepping up.
Like,
I think I think Biru especially is young enough and good enough and flexible enough that there is a market for him. Especially as we see three-man backlines become more in vogue, he is such a great slot in for left center back, like we saw on Wednesday, that he has a lot of value for that.
He was partially responsible for the goal that we let in on Wednesday night because he was late rotating over.
Yeah, I mean there were a lot of things wrong with that, but plenty of blame to go around.
Yeah, like I said, we've got a few pieces there. I think just given our pieces and given how we can move them in and out, especially on the back line, because I didn't even think about Biru, we have a legitimate four-person back line that we could play. That's going to allow more of our attacking talent to get on the field. And I just don't understand not playing it.
Yeah. I want to roll back to Davy for a minute. I kind of understand if a coach is doing this, like everybody has to be pulling in the same direction, power move. It's fucking weird for an interim coach to do that. And, you know, maybe there's more to the story that we're not getting, but this comes off as really bad for Davy for me.
Also, it was noticeable enough the announcers pointed it out.
Yeah.
Like, airing this out in public is not the way to do it.
No.
And I think, you know, stuff like this happens. It's part of the nature of sports and having a roster and having, you know, the coach and the players interact. But it happening on the sideline after Nelson had already been given a jersey and the announcers pointing it out is a really bad look for Davey.
Yeah. To his minor credit, that was the best we've seen Zan play in a long time when he came on. In a dead game that nobody cared about anymore.
Another classic example of a fullback you could play with an inverted winger who would get outside and use his left foot. Just saying.
Yeah.
Well, that would be a funny. Sean is one of the players whose contract does actually expire at the end of this season.
I can't imagine we keep him.
I mean, we have options for 27. Yeah, I can't imagine we keep him either. The other ones who are up at the end of this year are Christian Ramirez, who I would definitely keep on what it might have to go up to a full spot, but I think it's worth keeping.
At the right number, keep Christian Ramirez, absolutely.
Yep, 100%.
Yeah, and then Heinzike and Ilie.
I don't think Ilie is here next year.
I think Ilie is here as one of Jim Curtin's assistants.
I can see that. I actually think Ilie could be really good for the academy too.
Yeah. I mean, Ilie is someone who I expect in the next 5 to 10 years will be an MLS head coach.
Yeah, I can see that. As far as Heinz Ike, take it or leave it. It's going to depend on the number for me. He's here next year.
I just imagine we're going to be signing Dessler has one more year with his injuries situation. Like, I'm assuming we're going to be signing pretty much a brand new back line and the backside of the midfield.
Yeah. I mean, hopefully. What we've got is not working out. All right, let's do format. And I'm not going to limit you guys to these two games. Like, answer however you want. But you know, since the MLS season broke for the World Cup, Brad, who is your stock rising for Austin FC?
I'm going to say Poiheta. I thought he was very good in his minutes in both games. He was the only guy who was dynamic on the ball at all last night in Houston. I loved the little 30-minute run out and 5 minutes in, getting into a little spat Wednesday. He's interesting. And I think coming from the championship, yeah, he hasn't played much, but we talk a lot about how the English championship, it's one of the toughest leagues in the world just because of how much parity is in it. But also it's a league that the middle of the championship and, you know, probably spots 6 down look a lot like MLS. So if you can play there and be good there, you're probably going to translate here well.
Yep. That's why I like searching out there for players. Even down in the League One, you've got some guys who can show up if they decide they want to make the journey. But Seth, who is your stock rising?
Has to go with Irvin Torres. I mean, having the assists that he had on Wednesday night, getting minutes on Saturday, even if he wasn't necessarily super impressive yesterday, that it was, hey, getting minutes as an 18-year-old is important. I hope to see him playing in nearly every match the rest of this season. And heck, in Leagues Cup, throw him a few starts. I doubt that we're going to make it top 4 out of that group. So, you know what? Let's throw some really funny lineups out there in the next couple weeks, and let's see what happens.
Yeah, I would absolutely start him at least 2 of those Leagues Cup games, but we'll
I mean,
we'll see.
the only danger of starting him in Leagues Cup is if he goes on an absolute run, we might get some offer from the Yankees that we can't refuse.
There are worse things.
I want him to be part of this team's future for the next couple. I want him on the Owen trajectory.
Yeah, I do too. But
Let me rephrase it: the Owen 23 to 25 trajectory, not the
yes.
Owen. But yeah, we'll get to that.
I mean, he's coming off an injury, and then there was a huge break, so I'm giving Owen and Vasquez a little bit of runway here, because Vasquez's finishing against Houston was absolutely terrible, but he's still playing himself back into fitness, and I really don't think coming off that ACL type of injury, you are back on the field, but you're not back to yourself for another 6 months till after you start playing again. Scott, where is your stock rising falling?
I'm going a little esoteric as normal. My stock rising is whoever tilted the field at Q2. For the last 4 seasons, at least 56% of all Austin FC goals have been scored attacking the south end, and this year only 3 of 12 have been, which is also 12 is kind of a small number anyway. But it's not even just that, which normally the south end is also stronger defensively for Austin, but also most of the opponent's goals have been scored on the north end. And I'm starting to wonder if we need to bring out some kind of level onto the field at Q2.
I have a theory that's completely, don't have a way of really looking at it. I think our home record is actually better when we attack the south end second versus attacking in the first half.
Wait, don't we normally attack at second?
No, the north end. Sorry.
Yeah, that's what I was like. I think you're back.
I think our home record is better when we attack the north end second, like we did Wednesday night. I need to go find a way to look this up, but
it wouldn't be that difficult. You'd have to just look at the highlights of every game just for the kickoff.
Yeah, that won't take a while.
I mean, it would take a long time just since you'd have to watch 5 seconds of
I got a 4-hour plane flight coming up soon. I can have time to kill.
Oh yeah, that's perfect.
Good. I'm gonna go with the aforementioned Christian Ramirez. Put the man on the field and he scores fucking goals. We are not in a place to say, well, we need to future-proof and make sure that Uzuni feels comfortable, blah, blah, blah. No, fuck that. We need goals. I understand you want to give Vasquez minutes. I agree. That's a good strategy. Uzuni's a DP. He's actually performed halfway decent this year, at least in spurts. I understand you want to get him on the field. As Seth mentioned, we have a bunch of games coming up. There's no excuse for not rotating him in and having him see field time. I feel like we're going to have a lot of options for our next one. Brad, let's lead us off with stock falling.
Oh, we talked about it, but it's Jaden Nelson. If you can't find minutes this week, and it's nothing that he did on the field, but it's more just from the perspective of if you can't find minutes this week, how much lower is your stock going to get on this club? And real questions, I think, have to be asked about why he's not seeing minutes.
Yeah. Scott, you want to go next?
Yeah, my stock falling is John Gallagher. Blatantly at fault in the first Houston goal. Generally has not been able to have the awareness defending that is really necessary, and really the strongest he's looked for the team is attacking, and that's not what we need him for on the wing. And even when he is, he's still not converting chances into goals and assists.
I was going to say, he popped up in some good areas late against Houston, then did fuck all with them. But, I mean,
which is a problem.
Go ahead.
I'm just saying, that's a problem. It's a problem that John Gallagher kept popping up in good areas, attacking-wise, that nobody else was. If I'm Houston, I'm just do that every time.
Yeah,
have
fun. Yeah, but I mean, I like Gallagher. I like having him as this, Swiss Army knife piece. I don't want, our team to rely on him. That's a problem. Maybe for a game or so, but he shouldn't be generating all of our offense or, leading our team in scoring opportunities or anything like that.
I also start to wonder, because we've asked him to play so many minutes and do so much running the last few years, how many miles have we put on him that maybe he wouldn't have otherwise, and he's starting to slow down?
Yeah, he's right about at that point where I worry about that, and I would think about that in contract negotiations. Seth, who is your stock falling?
They got to give it to Svatak. Like, he has looked lost out there. He is, like, I mean, I've been one of his bigger champions since he made the move, but, like, I don't want to see him here next year at this point.
No, I mean I'd keep him around as like a late game closer if he's on.
But, like,
But
he is, I mean, yes, he has a year, but, like, I want to see a reinvented backline.
yeah,
Like, I'm there at this point.
yeah, like you can maybe convince me on a few, but good segue into my stock falling, which is Mikkel Dessler.
Yeah.
Can't stay healthy. Had a whole World Cup break. We mentioned there's some shakeup at fullback. There's a lot of people playing a lot of minutes and logging a lot of miles, and there is an old saying: the best ability is availability. So he's great when he's on the field, but that's far, 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 far too little right now for us to be getting any value out of him and worrying about him going forward. All right, now the fun one. Seth, do you want to lead us off with your moment of suffering?
I think I'm actually going to go to the Seattle match because their goal was one of the funniest goals that we have given up. And, like, we've given up a lot of funny goals in Austin FC history. But, like, having the equivalent of a knee slide goal is just like, oh, shit, here we go again. I was just like, if we're giving up goals like this, there's like, what are we doing here? So yeah, that was my biggest moment of suffering. Because like the Houston suffering, I sort of expected that double knee slide goal when we were dominating possession at that point in the match. I did not expect.
Yeah, there's a weird angle on one of the replays where it looks like he puts it in on accident, and I'm like, surely he meant to do that, but like, it wasn't something you like seeing going in your net.
Nope.
Scott, how about you?
My moment of suffering was during the Houston match yesterday, where my Apple TV stream kept kind of like blipping or skipping every few seconds.
Yep.
And one, it puts me 10 to 20 seconds behind over the course of a half. But yesterday I was trying to fix it by changing TV settings. And when I came back to the match, Austin was down 2-0.
It happens. Brad, how about you?
So during the Houston match, after they scored their third goal with only 30 minutes into the game, I yelled into. I was watching the game, and Carrie was laying in bed in the other room, and I yelled up, "Hey, do you want to watch Maisel?" Because we're watching Marvelous Mrs. Maisel. She's never seen the show, and I know, Scott. I'm making her watch it for her own good because it's a great television show. And unfortunately, she said, "No, I'm kind of tired. I don't feel like watching TV." So that meant I had to keep watching the game. That's a rough, man.
Not my favorite Christmas in July. Yeah, I have a few I've been going back and forth. I had a moment when I saw Houston's lineup and I went, it looks like they're rotating a lot of people. Like, we might actually have a shot to kick a draw here. And then I was like, you're going to feel really stupid in about an hour. And it didn't take that long, but I did. So I hate very few things as much as being right. And yeah, there we are. All-Star game this week. Anybody give a shit? I think Messi actually has a good excuse for not going this time.
Turn into this skills challenge on Tuesday night.
Yeah, that's totally different.
But yeah, like Wednesday night, I had to double check. Like, why aren't there midweek matches? Oh, yeah, because there's a stupid All-Star game.
And also no matches tonight.
Yeah, well, because we need to make sure that players get proper rest before the All-Star game.
Yes, the one time we care about player welfare.
Yeah. That being said, we have a Friday night match again after the All-Star break.
Who's playing Friday?
Friday night, I think it's NYCFC and let me look. Who do we got here on Friday? It's I know it's an NYCFC home game. They're playing Toronto, so like hardly anyone in the. I will say, if you didn't see Nicholas Fernandez Mercal's banger as a first goal against Chicago last night, ooh, that's one of the best goals of the season.
Yeah,
and he's demanding a transfer. He could fetch 20+ million. He's great.
Good. All right. I think we're done with Austin FC. Do you guys want to recap what we didn't cover yet in the World Cup?
I mean, honestly, like the final match itself was Spain passed the ball a lot. They got a bunch of opportunities. They eventually finished one of them. The entire country of Argentina has melted down on the internet in the last week. Okay.
Was
The
the
better team
post
won.
game was the post game behavior of the Argentine players the most Argentine soccer thing in history?
I mean, it's the only thing I'm disappointed about is that Donald Trump is not Argentine because he'd be a perfect leader for the level of complaining and shithousery that that country deserves.
Yeah.
I,
It was nice to
Yeah,
see Enzo Fernandez learn in real time about karma.
I was gonna say, I think the interesting thing about it is how similar it was to the 2014 final, which was another time that Argentina took on a European giant and could not do anything, and we were just waiting for them to get scored on. And it's kind of interesting to see that even, four World Cups after it, that ultimately Argentina is still unable to generate enough chances against a really strong European team to win.
Yeah, I actually wore my Brazil World Cup 2014 shirt to watch the final, hoping for the exact same thing. Would have been nice if El Goleador had finished it in regulation, but we'll take Ferran Torres as long as the right team wins. The third place game was great. Uh, Lots of goals. France not playing defense in the first half, and then almost tying it up if Michael Olise puts a couple away.
As Vince Lombardi said about the NFL third place game, which used to be a thing that existed, it's a losing game for losers.
I don't disagree with that, but now we have the fun stat that Bukayo Saka has a World Cup knockout hat trick, and Cristiano Ronaldo does not have a World Cup knockout non-penalty goal.
okay, so this is my problem. It's not a knockout game because you've both already been knocked out.
I agree with you. I'm just telling you how they keep stats.
So the question is, Brad, if a team is a College World Series a knockout tournament?
No, because it's double elimination.
Okay.
Like once you lose twice, you're out.
Yeah.
But that's the format of the tournament.
Yeah.
This is once you make it to knockout rounds, once you lose, you're gone. Go home.
Yeah. But FIFA made enough money that they're going to keep that in there for the next 4 years.
Oh, I know FIFA's doing it for the money. I get it. But the idea that anyone should give a shit about that game is crazy to me. And I don't care what country on earth you are.
No, the team shouldn't give a shit. They should be disappointed that they're fucking there. You ever watch a bronze medal hockey game? That's, one team doesn't show up almost every time, even though you're competing for a medal. Because they're like, hey, I should have been in the final.
Oh, I'm fully on board with getting rid of bronze medals, too.
Yeah, fine. Gold only.
Gold, and even a silver, I'm fine. Silver's fine. Yeah, you're actually swinging for second.
I don't know, for a track and field event or for a skiing event, sure. I'm fine with bronze. But for team sports, I think I'm fine with that.
Yeah. Gold and silver max. If there is a championship game, you don't need to give a fucking bronze medal. Mm-hmm. We'll put it that way. I did almost 3 weeks before it took place, just look up and buy tickets to the third place game before anybody knew who was in it, and I think it would have been a lot of fun, but tickets were decently priced. I just wasn't going to go try to play games in Miami and figure out what their whole
situation was. Even getting into that beforehand, it was $700-800. It was not cheap.
No. And it would have been a shit show. So it's a fun game usually though. There's usually a bunch of goals.
Yeah, listen, for the people who watch it and had fun with it, great, totally fine. I just fundamentally have a problem with, Mbappe wins Golden Boot because he got two goals in a game that means absolutely jack shit after they had already lost. That's bullshit to me. I'm sorry. You were out of the tournament.
Yeah. But now Messi doesn't retire as the all-time leader in World Cup goals.
Sure.
Okay.
I mean, that's obvious. I don't know. I guess for me, it just means nothing. So.
Yeah, I'm with you. I'm fine counting them as World Cup goals, but not World Cup knockout goals or.
I'm not even fine counting them as World Cup goals. It's an exhibition.
So you realize that the original, Just Fontaine, who has the golden boot of golden boots, of scoring 13 goals in one World Cup, scored 4 goals in a third place game.
That's fine. He should have 9. Or.
Well, and then do we have to do the Roger Maris 162 asterisk about? Well, they've only played 154 games and all that.
Yes. Absolutely, because Maris hit 61 well after Babe's 154th game.
Yep.
Like, yes, these are fine having asterisks on things. I'm okay with that.
Noted asterisk lover, Brad. We'll keep that in mind. Do we have any Canadian football news?
We do have Canadian football news. So the Ottawa Redblacks are 0-6. So there are teams that are worse than Austin FC in Canadian football. So that is good to know. The Edmonton Elks are having their best season since they changed their name. They're up to 6-1. On Friday night, we had one of the funniest games that I've seen in CFL history in a while, or at least in a while, where we had managed to have a play where we had an 118-yard kick six return. We had a interception that was then fumbled and then recovered for a first down. And the Winnipeg Blue Bombers managed to give up 52 points to the Calgary Stampeders in this game.
It wasn't that it was fumbled for a first down. He was trying to lateral it, if I'm not mistaken. And the offensive player from the team that had it intercepted dove in and just took it before it hit the ground.
It was a Reggie Bush in the national championship game level bad lateral. Like, it was terrible.
Also, the Argos are playing pretty decent ball and have played 7 straight on the road, where they finally get a home game this week because of the World Cup.
Yeah, and the nice thing is with the Red Blacks being 0-6, they're going to make the playoffs unless they do something really stupid and the fourth place team in the West finishes better than them. So they're still in a fine spot.
All you got to do is get your foot in the door.
I will say,
have we got any Diego Pavia into CFL news yet?
So we haven't, but I haven't seen anything on it lately. Winnipeg does have his rights. Drew Brown, who is their backup to Zach Collaros, who's hurt right now, is through 4 picks, including the one that we talked about a minute ago. I definitely think he should end up there, but I don't think he will.
He would tear it up in the CFL. His frame, the way he plays, getting a yard off the ball, he would tear that league up. Now, Diego Pava living in Winnipeg, hilarious to think about.
Hey, I mean, Brad and I know, because of our trip to Winnipeg last year, there are a lot of good drinking establishments in Winnipeg. I think he could find himself entertained for a few months.
Look, I went into one after the game where we had to show ID and then got patted down before we were allowed to have drinks, because apparently notorious for shootings and stuff. We didn't know this. Me and Tony. So
there you go. If you need a fun night out in Winnipeg, just ask Brad.
It's a good time.
Yeah.
We're going to switch to another football league for a second, which we don't usually cover on here, but maybe we'll cover more because they're nearing their playoffs right now. But right now there is a team in the Australian Football League that is kicking ass to such a degree that it is worth covering right now. Fremantle lost their first game of the season and then went on a 14-game winning streak. They're 17-2, and so Fremantle and West Coast are the 2 teams that are in the Perth area. So when they have to play a road game that's not against each other, they have at least a 3-hour flight to get to the rest of the country. They won 112-42 in their derby match against West Coast this past weekend.
Shit.
They have a 3-game lead in the AFL ladder as they are going into their postseason. But the AFL took cues from MLS, Liga MX, and the NBA, and has added in a play-in round this year. So 10 of the 18 teams make it.
I don't love that. I mean,
one other non-traditional football to note: if you haven't seen video today from the Irish Gaelic Football League, Mayo beat Kerry, and it's the first time that Mayo has won in 75 years. And I mean, the audio from this is phenomenal.
The county to county, County Mayo, County Kerry rivalries in Ireland are fucking nuts.
So do you guys know about the only non-Irish team in the Irish Football League?
Are they from Belfast?
No, they're from New York City. New York City has a team that competes in the All-Ireland Football League playoffs.
Okay.
Occasionally they make it to the second round. They've never like won a championship or anything, but like, yes, there's a proper New York team, and they'll play a few games in New York, a few games in Ireland, and then in the playoffs, someone has to. Every other year they alternate whether they host or travel. But yes, New York City has a team in the All Ireland Football League.
Do they also have a hurling team?
I don't think so.
Okay. Well, we can only do so much for them. I highly recommend both Irish and Aussie rules football if you get the chance to watch them. Aussie rules, especially, I used to watch all the time. Fantastic game, especially if you don't know really what's going on. Like, you kind of get the rules, but it's deranged in the best way.
Oh,
it's exactly the kind of sport you would expect Australia to come up with.
Yes.
Like, let's be honest. Like, it's a perfect amalgamation of you have to do everything.
New York does have a hurling team as well in the All Ireland competitions.
Okay, good. That's the hard hitting news that people follow our show for.
Yes, and like they beat Derry in the 2006 Senior Hurling Championships, and they made it to one of the finals.
They actually let Derry field a team. Interesting.
Yeah, I mean it is an All Ireland competition.
True. Do they make them call them Derry?
Yes, they were in the Ulster Championship, so New York is considered as part of Northern Ireland. I guess there's enough Protestants in New York City.
There it is.
But yes, it is. It's quite a interesting world to go through there.
Yeah. I mean, I hope everybody enjoys the MLS, but we do like recommending other things to watch because we also watch Austin FC and we understand.
So speaking to what we covered here at the beginning, do any of you guys have a guess on both the longest losing streak in Austin FC history and the longest winless streak in Austin FC history?
I think losing streak is 4, winless is 9.
Winless, I'm gonna go like 13. I'm with you. Like, I don't think we've lost 5 in a row, but 4 sounds right to me.
I think 5 is the longest losing streak, and I think the longest winless streak is 11.
So Scott is closest. The longest losing streak is 5 in 2021. We lost 5 straight games in that late August, early September stretch that we ended it with the 2-0 win over the Galaxy. And then we had a 10-game winless streak in 2023 that included that miserable St. Louis game and ended it with the 3-0 win over Wayne Rooney's DC United.
Okay, are you going across seasons?
No, these are both within a season.
Okay, no, because I remember there was somebody who was like, I literally like got pregnant and birthed a child in the time it took Austin FC to win a game, and like it includes off season, but I was just like, okay, what's the number of games that fits here?
I don't think that's actually true.
Okay.
I think that was one of our notorious trolls making a comment there, but that's not true, even including off season.
Okay.
Because we usually play enough like early season getting a win relatively early in the season has not been Austin FC's problem.
No.
It's more been late sustained. Yes. There's been multiple brutal periods, but this is why we have a podcast.
Yeah. I mean, I just want them to be bad differently. We're not even asking to be like entertaining bad at this point, just bad differently. So, anything else we need to cover? I think we should probably get out of here so we can all go watch FC2.
Good, yeah.
All right, cool. Well, on behalf of Brad, Scott, and Seth, everyone, thanks for suffering with us. Bye.
Promise here for Austin Jared Stroud. It's Diego, for goodness! He has written his name into Austin folklore.
They just won't go away.
Oh, he hits the upright again. That's impossible.
The Bears' season's going to end on a double doink.
Altidore squares it. Dempsey's missed it. Donovan has it. From hope, there is glory.